When it comes to the mental load, one of the biggest complaints that women have typically is that their partner will say, just tell me what to do. Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And that in itself is obviously a mental load, but not only is it a mental load, it's very frustrating because oftentimes they have said what they need or what to do. They've said, hey, it'd be really helpful if every day you emptied the dishwasher or if you could get the kids ready. And then what happens is the partner either forgets, doesn't know how to do it, continues to ask how to do it, or requires their partner to tell them every single time. So they can't just tell them one time, they have to tell them every time. And so when you say, just tell me what to do, it doesn't actually feel like you are participating. It's as if you are asking your partner to instruct you and guide you the whole way. And today in my home, I found the example of the reverse of that, because men will often say, like, how often do you change your oil? Or do you do X, Y, Z for your home? Do you know how to change the air filters, etc.? And if I told you how to do it, would you know how to do it every single time? And today in my house, I was turning the air on because I was cold. And I know because last year we had some trouble with turning the heat on, that if you don't shut the breaker off for the AC, it can cause something to like trip. And so before I turned on the heat, I went to the basement and I flipped the breaker for the AC. And when my husband came home, he was like, oh my gosh, you have the heat on. Like, you don't know about the breaker. Yes, I do, because you told me. You told me last year, if I want to switch from the AC to the heat when the fall comes, I need to shut the breaker off. So I did. I shut the breaker off. And this is no different than me saying to a partner, our baby's nap is at 9 a.m. Can you please make sure she naps at 9 a.m.? If I told you this on Monday, this is still true on Saturday. I should not have to reiterate it every single time, right? This was an entire year. My partner did not have to remind me. I remembered because I'm an adult. And typically you don't have to tell me something 10 times for me to do it. And this is what women are typically asking of their male partners in these heteronormative relationships. We are asking that when we do tell you something, when we hand you it on a platter and say, this is what it is, this is what we need from you, that you take that, you listen to it, and you actually do it, and that you remember it, and don't have to continue asking and requiring us to expend our mental energy for you to do that task.
I am of the opinion that adult males should not be handed a to-do list of what to do around the house. You live in the house, especially if you both work. You live in the house. You eat food. You sleep in a bed. You wear clothes. You walk on the floor. You use dishes. How is it that the woman has to give you a to-do list of what you need to do in the house? And is it actually helping her if she has to point out everything that you have to do and also tell you exactly how to do it? I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. These men are not stupid, they know what they're doing. When they try to pretend like they can't do these things, they're doing it so that it frustrates you enough so you don't ask them to do it again. It's stupid and they're just being lazy because they do not act like this at work.
Okay, I'm kind of about to call out all men, sort of. So if that's going to trigger you or bother you, move along, stick around if you want to be bothered. I don't really care, just letting you know. So Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday, and I'm a mom of 1-year-old twin girls. My older sister is a mom. My mother is the mother of us two and our two other siblings. And I was FaceTiming my mom and sisters last night, and we are planning Mother's Day dinner. So we're deciding what we're going to eat, what time it's going to be. I'm bringing a food assignment. My sister's bringing a food assignment. My mom's preparing the main meal. Why is it this way? Why can men not be better than this? And yes, I love my husband. He's a great guy. He's really trying. I actually think he's trying. And we're like progressive. We're like working on this. But yet still, like, this is how it is. And my husband's on a work trip right now. My mom's husband, my stepdad, like, tore his ACL, whatever. There's, like, maybe reasons. But if I was on a work trip or my mom tore her ACL, we would still probably be planning it, especially if it was Father's Day. And I just feel so frustrated right now because I feel like not only do women bear so much more of the emotional labor, women also have to bear the emotional labor on behalf of other women when their men in their lives don't show up for them, right? So like, I know if my stepdad doesn't do something for my mom for Mother's Day, I have to step in and do something even more because he's not like taking care of her. And my mom knows if my husband's going to drop the ball on Mother's Day, then she wants to like take care of me because we want to take care of each other and we want each other to be happy. And it's so frustrating to me. Like, I know that men, I'm not saying they're bad or like not trying, but like, it just upsets me that it's this way. And I just like don't know. I'm sorry, I'm crying. I have the worst crying voice. And also, if you're gonna be like, why do people film themselves crying? Like, go away. I know it can be better than this. It's just, I don't think like I can emphasize enough how much of this emotional labor women carry. And trying to like work to like get my husband to understand this and the other men in my life, like that's labor in and of itself. And sure, we could just ask him to do it, but that's also labor. Like, ugh. And sure, we could just ask him to do it, but that's also labor. Like, ugh.
I've been a feminist identified man for my entire adult life, but I didn't always have a handle on exactly what emotional labor is. So when my daughter was a baby, my ex-wife and I had a deal. We would alternate getting up with her in the middle of the night. We would share that labor. But I would frequently be in a daze, and I would turn to her and I would say, just tell me what to do. Even though, of course, I was doing the same thing every time. And it would annoy her, and I just didn't get it. I was just saying, like, point me in the right direction and tell me to go. Because I didn't understand that in making that demand, I was making my turn her turn too. And I did not understand why she was annoyed with me, because I didn't appreciate that it was labor and that I was making her do that extra labor. I shouldn't have needed her to explain that to me. Maybe I can save someone some grief by sharing this story here.
Women carry so much family labor and emotional labor in our society. Women are more expected to fantasize about having a family, having kids, having a husband, etc., instead of focusing on conquering their dreams. I think having a family in God's time is beautiful, but the pressure on women to give up their dreams for family and children and kids is ridiculous to me, because those same expectations are never put on men. Forget biology. Forget that a woman can't, has a geriatric pregnancy at 36. What about living? What about whatever happened to women enjoying their life and truly enjoying their life for them? It's so funny because when men have families, they're always seen as the family man. Oh, he's a good guy. But when women have children, they're penalized for it. Jobs don't take them seriously. People start to call them washed up, old, raggedy. This is the evil society we're living in, where men are seen as conquerors and women are seen as the conquered.
And to take that a step further, when when families break up, you hear people, men, talk down about single moms. It's always now, oh, you're a single mom, you're low value, you don't deserve to have a quality man after that. You should go back to your baby daddy. You hear stuff like that when it comes to single moms. But that same crowd is very silent when it comes to telling men to stay with the moms, to stay with their families, to not cheat on their families, to not leave the families, not pay child support, to not see the kids, to bring bad influence around their kids. That same crowd is very silent when it comes to checking the men after the relationships end. For a lot of women, especially women with children, breaking up is probably the hardest decisions that they will make, because they understand and they know, we as women, we know, we understand what it is to have a good father and a good father figure in a child's life. So when a woman breaks up with the father and that family will have to separate, that was a hard decision for her. Usually with men, when they go out and they act stupid, when they go out and they cheat, they don't care about what that's going to do for their family, because they're only thinking about themselves. And then after the fact, the women are the ones who are villainized. And even if there aren't any children involved, a woman is always villainized for not having kids. You always hear about women are going to hit the wall, and if a woman passes 30, then she's a leftover. But when they talk about men, they're talking about, oh, men increase in value as they get older, but women decrease in value. Who comes up with this stuff? Who is the one who determines the value of a population? And why is it men? Why is it that a man increases in value? He gets older just like a woman gets older. His reproductive functions diminish just as a woman's reproductive function diminishes as she gets older. Face gets older, less strong. I don't see how value is just there because he's a man. And it really ticks me off because a lot of these men talk about wanting to be the alphas and wanting to be like the head of the house. You're the head of the house, but your wife has to tell you to do things, and your wife has to tell you exactly how to do things. Even if she is a stay-at-home mom, if she's a stay-at-home mom, her duty in the house is a caretaker of the child or the children, not to do every single chore in the house, not to ensure that when you come home you get to kick your feet up and drink a beer and watch TV for the whole night while she has to run around, make sure that everybody has a bath, make sure that everybody eats dinner, clean up after dinner, and prepare for the next morning. There is almost always a checklist in a woman's head of all the things that need to be done in the home, and in the man's head it's just nothing. It's just nothing. Ask a man what he's thinking right now. He's gonna say nothing because it's true. They're not thinking about anything.
This is the perfect example of invisible labor because invisible labor doesn't actually mean you cannot see the work. The term invisible labor itself actually is representative of unpaid, unseen, or undervalued work. Because here's the thing about invisible labor. Typically, it's women doing this work. It is women doing the invisible labor. And it's not that men don't know this work exists. They absolutely know this work exists. It's that they just don't think it's very valuable. And they definitely don't think it's their job to do it. Women today will tell you that they are drowning in invisible labor, that the mental load required to manage a home and to raise kids is crippling. And men will say, I don't know what you're talking about. I think you've made this up. This isn't real work. But the thing is, they know the work is real. They just choose to ignore it because they don't want to have to do the work. This video is a perfect example of how men see the work. They see this work they clean doesn't exist and they choose to ignore it because they know that women will ultimately do this work. And so before you let a man ever tell you that this work is made up, that the mental load isn't real, that invisible labor is just something that women talk about to make themselves feel better, watch this video and remind yourself that most men know this work exists. They know this work exists and they choose not to do it because they do not value this work and they believe that this work is for women to do. So let this be a friendly reminder that the invisible labor and mental load that you carry is very, very real, and do not let a man tell you otherwise.
I had about an hour-long conversation with a patient this morning because she was feeling anxious and overwhelmed with housework and childcare. But she has a husband who's at home. He just doesn't participate. He doesn't see the things that need to be done, and he doesn't recognize the things that she does on a daily basis. And she was at the point where she's having this conversation with her primary care physician and me to try to find solutions. And if you are a man or a partner who wants to be a true partner, who doesn't want to be that guy, let me try to help you. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Saying, how can I help, is not helpful. It takes mental and emotional labor to keep track of a household task list and to prioritize them in order of importance. This person asks, if there are 10 things to do, should I ask, where should I start instead? No, because again, you are putting emotional and mental labor onto your partner to prioritize the task list and to make sure that you know which one is more important. A better thing to ask or to say would be, I'm going to do X, but if you prefer something to be done first, please let me know. And that way your partner can communicate with you and say, oh, actually, that's great. Or can you do XYZ first? And if that happens, you can say, absolutely, but can you explain to me why? So next time I understand the priorities better. And I can give you a little tip that might help y'all figure it out for yourself anyways. Women will comment on my posts a lot when I talk about domestic labor gap and men trying to help in the household. And they'll joke about how They ask their husband to help while they're overwhelmed with housework, and their husband will go outside and power wash the driveway and then be completely clueless as to why that is not helpful. And the main thing is functionality. Is the task that you are participating in making your household more functional? So things like dishes and laundry and cleaning up toys, that makes your household more functional. If you let the dishes pile up, the next mealtime, you either don't have dishes to use or you're piling more dirty dishes on top of the pile. Your kitchen is just not as functional. If you don't do laundry, you're running out of towels, you're running out of underwear, you're running out of all of the things which make your daily life less functional. If you leave toys scattered around the living room, your living room is less functional. So power washing the driveway, although maybe it needs to be done, it doesn't make your home more functional. So think to yourself, what helps make my house more functional? What are the tasks that need to be done as far as like, oh, I'm going to cook dinner. Look in the kitchen. Does the kitchen look like it's ready and clean enough and functional enough to prepare the next meal? Like, that's how you establish priority. I hope that helps.
You know, one of the things that has been so damaging and actually poisonous to my marriage is the fact that when I ask my partner for help with things, especially specifically things that are related to our kids and our home, the family, and he says he's going to do it, and then he does not follow through, or he doesn't do it on time, or he doesn't do it the way it's supposed to be done, and then it ends up becoming my task anyway. It's so poisonous because it has everything to do with trust and respect, in my opinion, because I know that my spouse does not view the tasks and the things that go with running a household, raising children, that aspect of taking care of a family, that it, in his mind, does not hold the same importance or value as what he does at his job. He's excellent at his job. He is an excellent at the work he does. He's gotten accolades and promotion. So when he wants to apply himself to something that he values and that's important, he can do an excellent job. He can excel. But when it comes to the things that need to be done for the family, and I know it's because he thinks, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not that important. Or if it doesn't get done, so what? We can do it later. We can fix it. It's not a big deal. But for me, when he treats those things that way, it gives me so much anxiety. And then it adds another task to my plate. Then I have this feeling like I have to come in, I have to take over, I have to make sure I have to be hyper vigilant that everything's taken care of. And I look at him differently. And then he gets mad about that. You shouldn't look at it differently. But it's like, you let me down. This was really important. My husband had a really important task that I needed him to do. It was for the family 6 weeks ago. And then just yesterday, I find out that it's not done. Now I have to take care of it. And I have to take care of it tomorrow, because if I don't, we can't wait any longer. And I have to rearrange the things that I have to do. I have my therapy appointment tomorrow I have to cancel. I have my pre-employment screening for my new job that I have to go to the clinic for. I have to take my kids to the dentist. I have so much. And then on top of that, now I've got to do this task that I didn't anticipate doing because I thought he was going to take care of it. 17 years that this kind of stuff has happened continuously, and I've talked until I'm blue in the face, and I just get dismissed. I get disregarded. It gets turned around back on me. Oh, you're making such a big deal out of it. Why are you pressuring me? Get off of my back. Yeah, there's gonna come a day where I don't ask for any help.
She should not be working as hard as your mother. She should not be feeling the brunt of everything. So we can't look at our wives and say, what's wrong with you? My mother was able to do it all. Your mother was barely doing it all. And now she's tired. Now she's having health problems. Now, you see it in her body. You see it in her strength. All those years of caring and all. Why would you want to break down your wife if you love her? Yeah. Why would you want her to carry all that? Because she's not going to be healthy later on. She's going to be bitter. She's going to be resentful. It's going to break down her body, and she's not going to be the best when it's time for y'all to be, when the kids are grown and it's time to be alone. She's not going to want to be with you because she's going to remember you left me out there. You left me out there to work by myself. You left me out there to be tired. You left me out there to be broken down, and you didn't care. So husband is thinking, kids are out of the house. Hey, it's time for us to be friends. She's like, you are not my friend.
I think this all comes down to a matter of respect. If he truly cares for you and respects you, he would not want to see you do everything. What sort of man would not want to take a burden off of his wife? What sort of man would want to come home, kick up his feet, and not pay attention to anything that needs to get done around the house? And then they like to talk about how they're the head of the house and they're the leaders in the house. That's not being a leader. That's not being the head of the household. And after a while, when the woman resents you and then she leaves you, you paint a picture as if the woman was being ungrateful because you did all of these things for her and you made all of this money and now she's gonna leave you and take the kids and take the money. But it's because all of these small things were adding up over time, years and years and years. Imagine 10 years of having to clean up after a man. Imagine 10 years of you having to put his underwear in the laundry basket because he leaves it on the floor, no matter how many times you tell him to take it up off the floor. Imagine 10 years of having someone who refuses to load the dishwasher for you, someone who refuses to look around, sweep the floor, take up toys off the floor, take up some trash. If the kids left trash on the floor, either tell the child to take the trash up or take the trash up yourself. Somebody who never ever thinks that you deserve a break, someone who never thinks that you deserve to kick your feet up from time to time. Somebody who thinks, oh, she has it all together. She will figure it out. You do not want a man who thinks you have it all under control. You can figure it out. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to say anything. And yet they like to talk about how men are leaders. What are you leading? You're leading at work. But what does that have to do with your family life at home? What does that have to do with how you relate to your wife and how you relate to your children? That's also why so many kids, when they get older and they start to understand the dynamics in the relationship between their mom and their dad, so many kids cling to their moms. Why do you think they cling to their moms? Because they know and they saw that their mom was the one at all the functions. Their mom was the one who was taking care of them. Their mom was the one who was staying up with them at nights when they had a bad dream or when they were sick, but not the dads, because that's woman stuff. We don't need to do that stuff because they don't think it's important, because they don't respect a woman and what a woman does until that woman leaves. And then guess what? When the woman leaves, he's just gonna bring another woman into the house. Like, it's like a conveyor belt. As soon as she leaves him, he's got another woman right there to take over and do the laundry and cook his food and run errands for him. That's pathetic. That's not leadership. So I don't buy the whole thing of I don't know what to do, just tell me what to do. When you go to work, your boss does not need to tell you every single task that you have to do. Because what you know you can't pull that with your boss because you're going to get fired. But at home, when it comes to the woman, he doesn't care. Because if he doesn't do it, she's going to do it. And that's the thing. Women just need to stop. If it's something that you can stop doing it. If he has never helped with laundry and you ask to help with laundry and you feel overwhelmed, how about do your own laundry and not do his laundry? And I know that for some of us, we're going to feel some type of way about that. But at some point, you have to draw a line and let him realize that if the laundry is not done, he doesn't have clean clothes. Like, these are simple things. This is not like a great discovery that we're talking about. These are simple things. You are an adult. You need to participate in your household. You cannot expect a woman to take care of you 100%, take care of the house, take care of the kids 100% without ever thinking that you need to do anything other than contribute to finances. That's not how it works. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.